LLW Lions Learning webinar is on service in challenging times. As we all know, our Lions, we are the global leaders in humanitarian service. Last year, we helped over 230 million people in the world. So far this year, we have helped 191 million people in the world. Our district has done 718 service projects so far this year. That's very compatible to last year's service projects we did. Last year we did 1,039 in the whole district for the whole year. And this year in A12, so far we have helped 196,000 people. So even though our clubs are struggling, some clubs are struggling with the pandemic, we are out there helping people. Right. And as we all know, where there's a need, there's a lion. That 230 million people we helped last year, that only represents 3% of the world's population. So there still is a lot of need out there to help people for us Lions that we can do. In our district, that 196,000 I mentioned, that represents about 33% of our population in District A12. So the County of Simcoe, Muskoka District, and the District of Parry Sound. So there is a need for us to do stuff out there. So I was going to do a poll, but just maybe I can just ask people to tell me what they think their club is after it was more active, less active, or the same compared to last year. So who wants to go first? Ruth, you want to go first?
Sure. My club, I would say less activities, mostly because of the fact that they are so used to doing fundraisers more than service, but even the service is suffering a little bit.
Okay. Jamie?
Well, I can definitely say more. And the reason is last year's club was the Bradford Lions Club, who are primarily a fundraising club. And the only service, if they did any service, was, well, I did mobilize them to get helping out a long-term care facility. The one was toughest hit, and doing, teaming up with coffee and danishes and stuff like that. But other than that, they really didn't do anything. I'm now with the Alliston Lions Club, and they do so much more service, and that's primarily why I've changed. And they did their Christmas hamper program, and they helped 153 families, and it was pretty powerful, the stuff they do. They did a roadside cleanup last week. They're cleaning up the Banting House next weekend, and they're doing a road cleanup on Lions Day of Service. So in my case, because it's a special case, the club I'm with this year, yes, it's more service for sure.
Okay, and Anne, how about the Angus Lions?
I would say last we did help some people out at Christmas time, in the food bank and whatnot, but they haven't really, and we also had the raffle, but since Christmas time, they haven't been doing anything. So, but like I said, we're going to do a road cleanup. So that's okay. About all that's on the agenda so far.
Okay, and Barb, how about your club?
So I'm going to say that we've done less of everything, but we haven't stopped. We have been able to raise funds through our bottle works, which is with everybody staying at home drinking, it's a huge, it's been able to go through the winter. Normally we stop kind of at the beginning of December and start again at the end of April because there's so much snow. But the bottle works has maintained and continued through this season, and that has really helped our bank account. So we have been able to, we've helped out a few individual families with things like heating bills, eyeglasses, somebody needed some appliances to help their home or whatever. So I'm going to say that we've held our own. It's a little less than what we normally do, but we've continued to do some. So I'm really pleased with that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Len, how about Barrie South?
I think we're actually been doing more, right? We've taken on like the hot meal program. So we've been doing like probably 2 events a month since October. So I think we've probably been doing more stuff than we had prior, just trying, but smaller things maybe. And we're just trying to find ways to do things that are going to make an impact without having to maybe get everyone out. So we were doing sandwiches for a while for the Busby van, where we'd have 5 members make a loaf of sandwiches. Then we started doing the hot meals. We did a cleanup day in the fall. We've got the food drive. We've got the cash drive going on right now. We did one Thanksgiving time. Yesterday we brought in just around $500, probably more today. Usually every day grows on itself. And then we were looking at doing a tree planting, a creek cleanup. We did the letters for the kids in February for the cancer kids. So we're looking at different projects and coming up with some new ideas and some new things. So I think we've actually ahead of the game.
Okay, good. And Jillian, how about the tiny township lines?
I think we've been doing more differently, but I think more because we've never done a food drive before. And with the food drive, not just in conjunction with our Easter egg hunt, but this time we delivered bags to all the houses and did it that way, roadside pickup, did more that way. We've maintained all the programs we did before, probably did a little bit more donating because of COVID to the hospital. And the only thing that's gone down is our fundraising. But I think we've done more service, but adapted to the conditions.
Okay. Okay, and Allison, are you able? What has your club done more, less, or the same compared to last year? Allison, I don't hear any video. I don't hear any sound. No, yeah, you are. It does say you're unmuted. Okay, Allison, I'm going to move on. Probably has something to do with your mic. Okay. So in the Penetang Machine Lions Club, my club, we've done more this year. We started off like in the summer and the fall, we were really busy, slowed down a bit in the winter, but we will pick up again in this spring. So I'd say we've done more. So from the clubs that are here, it's being shown that we're just over 50% of us have done more service, and 3 of our clubs have done less service. So we're still out there doing stuff. So that's good. Okay, so we just remember we are a compassionate people. Our service is compassionate action. When we do service, we're radiating kindness, and we're out there helping people, and we're showing people that we really care about them, and that we have to, people need our help. So I'm going to look at, the benefits of service to you, your club, and your community, and then we'll go through those global causes and look at some service ideas we can do for those.
Randy, Allison just posted in the chat that she wrote, we have been doing bottles and they have been busy. We have also continued with our loaning medical equipment and did our Christmas basket and telethon programs. Fundraisers have been a challenge. We did do Lions calendars too.
Okay, great. So Sunridge Lions, so that's, they're out there doing stuff, still being busy in their community. Thanks, Lion Jamie. So as we know, volunteering helps us, right? If it's time, money, or energy, it helps others, but it also makes us feel better. Volunteering, helps to reduce our stress, helps us to combat depression, especially in these times, right? Where our mental health is so important because things have changed and we're under a lot of stress, not knowing what's happening with COVID or what we're going to do. And it's been proven that volunteering helps you medically, lowers your blood pressure, it gets rid of stress, which can cause you high blood pressure and stuff like that. So it's good. And volunteering gives us a sense of purpose. I have said this before. We need a sense of purpose. We need some reason to wake up every morning or most mornings and do something worthwhile, right? So by volunteering, this serves that purpose to help us have a sense of purpose. And Viktor Frankl, Austrian doctor, the Jewish doctor in the German concentration camps during the war, right? He believes because he was a doctor, he was able to do stuff every day to help people that helped them to survive the horrors of the Nazis concentration camps. And the Japanese even have a word for a sense of purpose or a reason for us for doing stuff. The words ikigai, and it's a reason for living. It gives us a sense of purpose. They have done studies in villages in Japan that people are out there helping people, have a sense of purpose, giving people help, they live longer. There's some villages where it's like people will live 10 to 15% longer than other villages. So just remember, when we're out there helping people, make sure we're having fun doing it, right? If we're having fun, then it's going to help our sense of being. We'll feel better, and then just a big circle, and we'll be able to feel better, help people more. And so just make sure we're having fun doing it, right? And don't let it become a chore, and that'll just ruin all the benefits of volunteering for us. As we know, leadership, membership, service are all part of the global action team, and all three are connected. When we have great service, it increases our visibility out in the community, attracting new members, and service develops new leaders. Service keeps our members engaged, and service will lead to new service projects. So all three of them, membership, leadership, and service, are all connected. Now, in these times, right, it's really important that we serve safe, right? We don't want to come down with COVID. COVID, as we know, can be pretty nasty for all of us, any of us. It's really important that we serve safe, and we should all know the how to serve safe now, right? You know, we should all know that we have to still maintain 6 feet from everyone outside of your household. Wear a face covering indoors or outdoors. It says that physical distancing cannot be maintained. I wear my face mask when I'm working at this local soup kitchen. I wear my face mask the whole time for the whole 4 hours, even if there's only like 3 or 4 of us getting things prepped. Usually one person's in one part of the church and I'm in another part, but I'm still wearing my face mask. So I wear it all the time when I'm out around people. I think it's helping us because we do deal with a vulnerable population of people who might not understand the dangers and stuff, and they could be carriers. So we wear our face masks all the time. It's really important. So most of us know the role we have to play to stop. So any service projects we are doing, we should make sure we do them outside as much as possible, right? You know, they say fresh air circulation is really important to help stop the spread. And I'm a firm believer that as soon as you can, get vaccinated, right? This is what's going to stop the spread of the virus, right? As we can all get vaccinated as soon as possible. So I'm hoping my age group comes up very soon. Okay, so we had thought we were going to do breakout rooms, but because there's only like 8 of us, I think we can have a discussion about service ideas that we want to for the 5 global causes. So so the first one up is diabetes. So people want to just chime in and think of give me some examples of some service ideas they think we can do for diabetes. I'll write them down and we'll discuss them. Okay.
Diabetes is kind of hard because mostly we do a lot of awareness stuff for them, and that's hard to do with COVID and the restrictions that we have right now.
I walked last fall for diabetes, and I posted information every day about things that the Canadian diabetes, about active lifestyle helps reduce it, eating proper diet, exercise, and you can use your social media on your clubs to do some awareness for diabetes that way. We did a virtual strides walk. So.
Okay, good. Anybody else, any suggestions?
Just maybe promoting, like it goes along with awareness, but promoting people's like go and get tested regularly. What are the signs and symptoms of a diabetic? And if you have any of these, make sure you go get tested so that you can start treatment if necessary, or change your diet or increase your activity level or whatever. Those sorts of things could be helpful too.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is why I put diabetes first, because I couldn't come up with a lot of examples either. It was the hardest one because of the times, but that's it. We use our social media to promote diabetes, taking the risk assessment, and having an active, healthy lifestyle. A few other things I saw. All right. So like I said, we talked about organize a strides walk. We could bring fresh fruit or vegetables to the school, so kids, make sure kids are getting a healthy nutritional meal or items, right? And we could do a community vegetable garden where then at the end, when the stuff's ready, we could give it away to some needy people, right? Okay. Okay,
The
next up is,
Tiny Township Lions have already started or signed up for their community garden for their fresh vegetables for soup kitchen and that, so.
good,
Excellent.
good, excellent. Okay, so next up is vision. There's any suggestions what we can do, what type of service projects we could do for vision?
So if there's people in your community that you are aware of that have low vision or, worse than that, you can always offer to help them do tasks, help read their mail, help, maybe escort them on a walk, help them with their shopping, that sort of thing, read to them. Those are some service ideas that, would be appreciated from all of the millions of clients that I've heard complain about what is a problem when they can't see very well.
We can also still continue to do the eyeglass collection as well.
Randy, part of the issues with maybe both of these with diabetes and vision, why that it's not so much in the forefront. It was discussed at our Canadian conversation with Alan Hunt on Sunday. It's my understanding that Diabetes Canada and also CNIB, they've had, and Barb, maybe you can chime in on this. I think they've had a lot of layoffs, laid a lot of people off because of the pandemic. Is that true?
Yes,
Yeah.
CNIB has laid off a lot of people, and they've also gone through a huge restructuring where they've split the service component away from the I guess like the actual service to the clients is now different from fundraising or the camps or anything like that. Peer support, they're two different things. So there is a CNIB component, but also there's Vision Loss Rehab Ontario or something like that. So it makes it difficult. And yes, the layoffs have been brutal. So the awareness or, the promotion of what's happening isn't really out there. It's been really unfortunate.
So that's what I was hinting at. It was perhaps because of those two things in those two areas. I know that the dining in the dark with diabetes was a huge hit when it was first started 4 or 5 years ago in the district. And, clubs would probably be doing that now, but we're not doing it with COVID. But they're probably not getting the support from Diabetes Canada and CNIB to promote other service projects that we might otherwise be doing right now as well. So, which makes it difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, the pandemic is wreaking havoc on everything we do. So a few things I thought of was, support the LFC virtual guide dog walk, right? It's coming up May 30th. As Lion Ruth mentioned, collect used eyeglasses. We can still do that. That's an easy one to do safely. We could volunteer to create audio recordings of books, especially for children. One of my members did that for the Centennial Museum in our town. I think past District Governor Chris Lewis read books too, virtually, right? Since most of us are all in small towns, not every one of our towns have a library. So maybe in the senior center or the library, or maybe a community center, we could have organize a Braille, large print, or audio book collection, right? So like in Port Carling, Barb, is there a library in Port Carling?
Yeah, there's a huge library in Port Carling that's very community minded, and they have a lot of programs that they run for our little town.
Okay, and do they have like large print books and stuff there?
Yep. Yes,
Okay.
they certainly do, and audio books as well.
Okay, so That might be one for maybe even our smaller towns like Brett or Dorset or Dwight, something like that, right? So
Right.
that don't have the leverage. Okay. Any service project suggestions for childhood cancer?
Let Len share his projects. They've done a couple. You want to start with yours, Len?
Sure. We wrote get well cards for kids, and I think Randy, your club did that as well. So
How did you find out where to send them, Len? And how did you, like, you didn't personalize them because you wouldn't know the patient's name or whatever. So how did you do that?
So we just wrote, hi, I'm a member of the Barrie South Lions. I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling too well. I know times may seem pretty rough right now, but I want to let you know that there's 1.4 million lions around the world that are in your corner, and and then hopefully you start feeling better and things. So something like that, and
then where did you send them?
we send them to Pogo.
So
Okay.
Pogo is the Pediatric Oncologist Group of Ontario, and they run satellite offices all throughout Ontario in support of the major hospitals. So if a child, say in District A12, is diagnosed with cancer, once they, if they're sick kids, and once they prescribed their cocktail or the scheduled treatment of chemo and radiation, they can arrange to have them to go to like a satellite office in Aurelia, or has one, and they can go in there. Pogo also offers financial support for families and so on. We're in touch with Len Wilson with Pogo, and I think Randy's club in Penetanguishene, they did the same thing. I don't know, did you both ultimately give them to Len Wilson, or did you send them somewhere else?
Yeah, no, we sent them to Len Wilson down in Toronto. Yeah.
And the Parry Sound Lions Club came into possession of a bunch of children's books, and they were going to meet up with Len Wilson in Toronto to drop them off. And what they will do, because they're going to start, they'll start in Toronto, and then they'll disperse them into the other areas where needed. And because the pandemic kind of heated up again, they backed off on that. So they're holding on to those books. They'll collect them later. But Pogo probably can make arrangements, or I could, if your club wants to do that, I can find out where to drop them off or make arrangements to connect you with Pogo in Aurelia.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, when we sent the cards to Toronto, it cost us like $15 for 100 cards. So.
Another project they're doing in 5M10, which is the northern part up near Lake Superior. Clubs up there were doing Tide blankets. So I think they're basically, what it is 2 layers of material, and they go and around the edge, and they cut in, make about a 2-inch cut, maybe ½ inch apart all the way along, and they tie those ends, and they make these blankets, basically like a snuggle blanket. And I think they've made over 700 blankets, and they're donating those to, cancer hospitals and hospitals where children are afflicted by cancer, so that when they're going to their treatment, chemo, radiation, they have something to snuggle. But that's something we could also hook up with Pogo for disbursement. But the beauty of the Tide blankets is once they get the material, even during the pandemic, they could do it right in their own home. And you don't have to get together, right? There's something Ann Bell would have a field day with. She'd have to put her knitting when her hands get tired from her knitting needles, she could do the Tide blankets for a while. Something else that came up yesterday, I was on a call with Camp Booch. There was almost 200 people on a Zoom meeting, and they're talking about actually having an in-person camp in Rosso. Now, as you know, Camp Booch is for children afflicted by cancer, but because of the pandemic, there's no way they could have the high-risk children there. They're actually talking about having families of children afflicted by cancer. So in one cabin, they would have one family in there. So they're using the common washroom in the big hall where they have the cafeteria. They would have areas cordoned off for each of the families. So of course these children are high risk, and I know with Camp Hooch that they would take every precaution necessary to keep everybody safe. But something occurred to me that, you know, when you have families coming from all over Ontario to go to Rosso, in most cases, it's more than a 1-hour trip. And depending on the age of the children or their affliction, that might be too long of a car ride to make in one trip without a bathroom stop. And where would you stop with these children? You couldn't stop in a public washroom. So I put a message into Carrie Arnold at Camp Hooch, Camp Trillium, because they probably haven't thought this far ahead, but if this goes ahead, perhaps the Lions could come together and we could have, you know, washroom stations along the 401 corridor and the 400 corridor, you know, intermittently. Like maybe you put one in London, one in Woodstock, one just out in Mississauga, one up, say, either Barrie or even Washego. You could use the Lions Hall in Washego, and then out the other way towards Kingston, so that the families traveling, if we monitor it from, say, like 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the children are coming to and from that camp, they could maintain a safe haven for them to actually, the family, to use that washroom. It's a simple service project. It's not going to affect all clubs. It only may affect a half a dozen clubs, but it's something simple that would be a bit of a lifesaver for these families trying to go to camp. So it's kind of the thing we're in right now. We got to think outside the box. It's a different world we're living in right now, and it's hard. We just got a new way to serve.
Okay, that's a good idea, Jamie. And will the camp need any help to get cleaned up and ready?
Possibly, but they're not quite the same as like at Dorset or Huronda, where they take a lot of outside volunteer help. But I can ask that question of Alex Robertson and Carrie Arnold to see if there's something we could do to possibly help. We know, because they have medical facilities on site and doctors on site and healthcare workers on site, we know that the children are going to be safe when they're there, but getting to and from is a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
But I can ask that question and see if they need help.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, if the camp's been closed for a year, right?
Yeah.
They could be, you know, dusty, or maybe over, you know, some mice droppings or whatever, right? So.
And that's the other thing is just, you know, with even though there won't be nearly as many people there at the camp, just housekeeping itself will be a lot more difficult because of the pandemic, right? They'll have to take particular attention to keeping everything safe. It's not 100% certain that it's going to go through. They had this discussion to let them know what they had a celebrity, I forget what's her name, is it Jennifer Valentine or something? She's a host on Good Morning or a television thing on Global. I don't know.
Yes, it's Jennifer Valentine.
Jennifer Valentine. She actually hosted the meeting. She was kind of the guest host and asking pointing questions, and but it was more to get people familiar with what they're potentially doing. So.
Okay, so there's some good ideas and just some things I
Randy,
Yes.
One thing I noticed they were doing in England was knitting caps out of special wool for the kids that had lost their hair and they need head protection. So I've put in a call for the pattern. That's something we could do too.
Okay, good. And actually, on my next slide, that was the first item: make new hats, caps, headscarves, and blankets for kids, right? So good. And as we mentioned, cards, well wish cards for kids. We could provide tutoring services to children with cancer. We would have to do this at the moment virtually, right? Or we could support, there's another charity that does tutoring for kids, but virtually we could help kids keep their schoolwork up and stuff, right? I'm not sure about the next one, providing meals for families. They would have to be, very close to you or in your same town, where COVID's probably very low, right? And people know you and stuff like that, right? Support fundraising efforts or organize your own. As you probably know, I do the Great Cycle Challenge, which is a fundraiser for children cancer research for Sick Kids Hospital. So there's lots of fundraising efforts out there that you could help out with, right? Okay, so up next is the environment. So any suggestions concerning or service ideas we could do for the environment?
Well, obviously the roadside cleanups happening all over the place. And our president said in our last meeting, like, why do we just do this on the first Saturday in May? Like, that could be like, yes, the Chris Lewis Memorial Day of Service, but there's also, we could do it a few times during the summer when there's lots of stuff being thrown out. So that's something that we're looking at, is doing that more than once. And then of course our bottles, that's helping keep bottles out of the landfill and stuff like that. So those are two ideas.
We have bought 900 trees, I believe, and we're giving them to one to every child in the township, and they're going to plant them. Something for the environment and something for the project.
Okay, good.
Sounds great.
That's great, yeah.
Oh,
Well, last week I was busy building and erecting birdhouses. We got about 6 of them up, and I still have one more. I got a barn swallow house I got to build to put, because we've already got some birds out there. We got eastern bluebirds out there, and a bunch of tree swallows that are coming back. Yeah, Sue's got me building all these birdhouses.
Cool.
But yeah, that's cool.
I know that the Elmville Lions are doing up some duck houses for the pond that's behind their clubhouse. So they're gonna have some duck boxes done up for them. So
That's great. So those suggestions, just a few comments. The roadside cleanup, Barb, you had talked about doing it a few times.
Yeah.
A good day to keep in mind, it's always Earth Day coming up, but that's very close to our Chris Lewis Day of Service. But also September 9th is Global World Cleanup or World Cleanup Day. So that's a date where we could, tie into it, right?
I didn't know about that. That's cool.
Yeah. And the, clubs that recycle bottles, has two advantages or two great outcomes, right? You're helping the environment, but you're also making a bit of money, and you can make a lot of money, right, if you're doing recycling the bottles, right?
And our e-waste bins, scrap metal bins are a good idea too.
Yes. Okay, good. And some ideas I had, found on the internet and stuff. As we said, plant trees, roadside beach park cleanups, right? As Jillian just mentioned, collect used electronics, metal, or gentle used clothing. I think Barry Self, it's been collecting metal the last few weeks.
yep.
So that, we could plant a native wildflower garden, right? If we want to help another organization around here, the Georgian Bay Biosphere is selling native plants. So it's a fundraiser for them, but you also get to plant some native plants, right? They're based out of Prairie Sound. Our first vice district governor, John Jackson, had them speak at a region rally, I believe, a few years ago, and that's how I got to know them, got interested. So we support them, and we buy every year. We buy flowers, and I think that Baxter Ward Lines, they built some garden boxes for them just this past weekend. So they've been helping them too. So another one that I know of is, collect used prescription containers. The third world, people in the third world or the undeveloped countries, they don't get their medicine in containers like we do, right? They just basically get handed the 3 or 4 dozen pills they need into their hands, and they have to go. So they have no protection, right? So so you could collect used prescription containers, and you would send them to a place in Cincinnati, called 25 Ministries, or you could send them to Samaritan Purse. The Aurelia Lions Club, I know, is collecting them now, and there's a few clubs in Toronto collecting containers. There's lots and lots of stuff we could do for the environment. And most of it, is outside, or is stuff we can do by ourselves to remain safe.
Randy,
Yes.
sorry, I don't know if I missed it or not. Where do they use prescription containers? Where do you take them? Because I think that Port Carling is interested in doing that.
Okay, you would have to send them to a place in Cincinnati. It's actually a church in Cincinnati called 25 Ministries. It's the only place I found that accepts them, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Jamie Mask from Aurelia Alliance was coordinating it for their club, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so next one is hunger. Any ideas for what we can do for hunger? Hunger's probably the biggest issue in our local area for our people, food insecurity.
Well, we've just been, we're in the middle of our cash drive for the Barrie Food Bank, and we've been, because unfortunately they're not taking food donations right now because their Easter drive normally gets about 20 ton of food and to get the people in to sort it. So they're relying on financial contributions. So we're sitting out in front of the grocery store doing the same as we would as if we were collecting food, and we're getting some good cash. We've also got a fundraiser link on our social media. So, and we're telling people that they can make a contribution right at the food bank's webpage as well. So we've got three ways for them to donate. So.
And on top of that, like you mentioned, Len, about food banks not taking actual food donations, it actually, most food banks will tell you that it's far more efficient for them to get money anyways, so they can buy exactly what they need, what they may be in shortfall of, and they can get a better deal on bulk rates than any of us can. So money is the most efficient way of replenishing their stores than actual food donations. But for a lot of Lions clubs that do not want to venture outside their club and go to a store and collect donations in hand, you can set up donations through your on Facebook, and if your local food bank, most of them are charitable organizations. Typically on Facebook, if you do donations, if it's not a charitable donation, they take a piece of it. But if it is a charitable donation, they take nothing. So you could simply start a fundraiser through your Facebook page. Maybe for thinking about people, families. Well, I know families might not be getting together at Easter, but typically that's a time when we think about people that are, that need food. You could set something up and you don't even have to leave your home. You could do it, set it up, and like almost like a GoFundMe page and through Facebook. And when it's over, you set the end of the campaign and it goes directly to the food bank. You don't have to even leave your home.
Yes, those food lists or cash food drives are really good. In the bigger towns, in the smaller towns, I think like my local food bank in Pantang, they're still accepting food, right? Because they're small and they need it, right? So some other things I thought of was, well, just like we said, support your local food bank by donating time, equipment, or food. As you guys are doing, as the Barrie South and the Barrie Lions Club are doing, preparing meals for other community groups. Check with our schools, especially, kids are going to be home, could be home with this lockdown, right? Maybe they're not getting the right nutrition at home, right? So we could prepare take-home bags for the kids to do that, consists of fruit and other nutritional meals, right? So those are some
Except, Randy, the schools are not accepting anything now.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I've checked with the two schools in Tiny, and they're not accepting anything.
Okay. I didn't know that because we did it a few months ago and they took some stuff. One of our schools took some stuff, right? Okay. Well, so we can't do that, the take-home meals yet, right? But the schools probably would take money like everybody else to help support kids, right, with the foods. So, so just a few other areas that we have to think about. One is still frontline workers still need our support, right? We have done meals to our nursing homes, to our hospitals, right, which is really good. But let's not forget the other frontline workers out there, right? Say a truck driver, or the cashier at the store, at the local grocery store, right? Or even our paramedics or a policeman, right? So maybe next time you go shopping, take a thank you card with you and just give it to the grocery store cashier, or even with maybe a $5 or $10 Tim Hortons card in it, right? So just to show our appreciation, they're out there helping us, so get through this pandemic, right? So, and still same, support our local businesses. I think that's really important that we do it, because those are the people that give us donations, are there. They're employing our fellow citizens, right? It's really important that we give support, right? And keep shopping, keep doing whatever you can do local, right? The picture here is the dock lunch. My zone, about a month ago, we provided meals for the hospital, and the dock lunch, they gave us the meals for like half price, right? So it was really good. 275 meals we provided to the hospital staff, and it didn't cost us as much as it would have if it wasn't for the generosity of Nick Verduris at the dock lunch. So it's really important that we keep supporting our local businesses so they survive and they have people out, they're employing people, and they're there in the future when we need donations.
We gave gift cards, I believe 45 gift cards to the Wendat for Phil's, for the Wendat workers that were in lockdown or in isolation in the motels. Right. When they were in isolation in the outbreak, and Phil gave them, we bought $25 gift cards for them, and he said he would double it. So the local businesses are really great.
Yeah, even in, in these times, our local businesses are stepping up and being very generous too, right? So we just have to, repay them for their generosity, right? So, oh, no. So we've talked about fundraisers and donations, like most of our clubs are doing bottle collections. You still can collect pop can tabs. There's people out there who still want them. Uh, the Baxter Wars Lions Club did a unique fundraiser, recipes in a jar, and they got $3 from every sale. Plus they got, I believe it was 200 meals provided for their soup kitchen. And then, you can still do raffles, virtual raffles. Then we talked about Facebook donations, right? And also you can, through Square, put a donation button on your clubhouse webpage, your club's webpage, right? And as the next, I believe it's the next webinar, it's about e-commerce. It's Tuesday, April 13th at 7:30. I believe Jim Bartley and Christine Forsythe are doing it. So it's a good time to learn about e-commerce, right? So there's lots of things out there we can do for fundraisers or donations. Does anybody have anything else or any unique fundraisers they've done or can think of we could do during these times?
Well, we did our polar dip virtually, Randy, and had good response.
Okay.
And lots of they're good pictures of people doing things. And and we're thinking of Christine's going to help us put our fireworks. We will be able to set up, but we think we're going to do them online too for pickup.
Okay, that's our club just put a square button on our clubhouse page, and it was really simple. And then you can buy a square for $60, and yeah, so you should be able to do it.
Julian, I can't do fireworks this year because I realized last year when I did it in July weekend, we had all these birds coming here, and I scared the heck out of them. They never came back. We lost our bluebirds, we lost our Orioles, we lost everything. So.
If you're building houses, Jamie, they will come, and you shouldn't scare them away.
No, they were there. No, I had pretty loud stuff. The fireworks were too good. Let's put it that way.
Poor birds.
Yeah, poor birds. So there's a service project. Build a big dome over Jamie's house so the birds don't get scared by the fireworks. Okay, so we've talked about some ideas about service for our 5 global causes. There's lots of resources out there. The main one is the LCI website. They have the 100 service ideas pamphlet, and they have tons of stuff on service. Then the other one is My Lion. They have the service project planners, if you just go on My Lion and scroll down through the activities, you might pick up one, something your club could do, right? So there's lots of resources out there. Google searches will get you something, right? Today, I just was, last minute preparation for this. And I Googled plastics and water, and there's some things we could maybe do that will help to take plastic out of our Great Lakes. So I'm just waiting for a reply back from them, right? So just, Google whatever your idea is, and you'll probably, come up with a solution or something, right?
So with respect to plastic, this has got nothing to do with Lions really, but just for those that are on the call, I recently hooked into a company called True Earth, TRU Earth. and they're a Canadian company. I believe they're from BC, and they have all kinds of cleaning products and laundry stuff, and it comes in like a cardboard envelope, if you will. And what the laundry detergent is like they're squares, and they're segregated, like perforated. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's a square, and you rip apart the square into 2 bits, and one half of the square is for a regular load of laundry. The full square would be for like a heavy duty or dirty load, like really dirty load of laundry. And like there's no big plastic jug. And they have dryer balls that are made of wool, so you don't have the dryer claws. And I haven't got into the cleaning products for like dusting and stuff like that, but they have that sort of stuff in those cardboard envelopes. And I just hate plastic so much that I won't get anything out of this, but I'm just trying to promote the idea to check out that company, True Earth, and see what you think. So far, the laundry, it's been great. It cleans things, and they've got other products that you can look on their website. So check it out and get rid of the plastic jugs.
Okay.
Even
Thank
if
you,
you can
Barb.
recycle them, right? They don't always get recycled. So
Yeah, supposedly some websites today said like 80% of plastics end up in landfill or in their environment, right? Recycling is not that great. So okay. So just remember to share your impact, right? Make sure you get the word out there, what we've been doing. It's really important, you know, it comes back, it reflects well on our clubs, our members, if we share our impact. There's lots of ways to share your impact, right? Social media is the biggest one at the moment, but there's others, right? Newspapers and their web editions, right? They're always looking for stories. Our local newspaper, you know, every couple of weeks they're running a little ad saying, you know, send us a story about what you're doing in the community, right? So the newspapers are crying for stories, right? They have less staff to go out and find the stories, so you have to send the stories to them, right? And I've noticed lately on CT Barrie, they're doing a lot of stories lately about people helping others, right? The other day out of Vaughan, there was a story about, they called it the pink cars, I believe, where people were helping other people get to the COVID vaccine sites and stuff, right? You know, so so contact CT Barrie if you have something happening. Maybe Len would be a good, maybe they'll come down to your food drive, right? Because it's unique being a cashless or a foodless food drive, just being cash. So, so just make sure we're out there sharing our stories. And remember, any service you do, report it on My Lion, right? I believe everyone on this call at the moment is very comfortable with My Lion. Just there is a webinar coming up that Len and myself are doing. So just remember to share your stories. And same thing, just a little plug for our friend, past District Governor Chris Lewis Memorial Day of Service coming up Saturday, May 1st. It's hands-on service we're promoting. We don't want any fundraising to happen. So just make sure your club is doing something, and let your zone chair know what's happening so she can pass it on to the district, vice district governors and district governor, right? So it just, you know, we're Lions, we're out there helping people, we're serving humanity, and we're giving hope. You know, COVID-19 has thrown a lot of curbs into our plans and into our activities, right? But we can still go out there and help people. We just have to think out of the box, do it safely, and we will help people to make the world a better place. Okay. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Randy. It was a really great presentation and lots of ideas are being shared. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Great job.
Okay.
Good job, Randy, but don't you think the biggest challenge, most of the clubs are on your webinar are doing their service, but I find the biggest challenge, and our club is finding the biggest challenge, is recruiting new members in this time.
It is a challenge because we can't get out there and we can't meet people, right? But we have noticed in other clubs that if they're out doing service projects in the community, people see them and people will come forward and ask what's happening, right? I believe Sunridge added a couple of members because of that. They were doing service and people helped them. People wanted to join. So yeah, it's all about visibility, getting out there and helping and giving service, right? So people can see what we're doing.
Allison says they have 2 new members, so yes.
Yeah.
And we've seen this, and it goes back to your earlier slide, Randy, about the 3-legged stool, about, you know, membership, service, and leadership. And, you know, I know Len's Club, Barrie South Lions, they've been doing a lot of meaningful service and sharing it on Facebook, and they've got new members over the past year because of it. A lot of clubs that are doing meaningful service, they're finding new members because perhaps now there's not a greater time in our 104 years of Lionism where the people in our communities need us more than ever. Maybe the Second World War, but in our 104-year history, now is the time we need to serve.
Exactly. I agree with you, Jamie. This is the time we have to be out there doing our service, and there will be benefits to us, to our clubs, and to our communities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's everything I have. Jamie's just going to speak about a moment or two about future LLWs.
Yeah, and thank you so much again, PDG Randy, for a great presentation. We have more coming up 2 weeks tonight. As mentioned, we have e-commerce and your club. Our Christine Forsyth from the Tiny Township Lions and Zone Chair Jim Bartley are going to be discussing that. They're going to follow that up with another one 2 weeks after that on April the 27th on social media. So doing the service is part of it, but being able to broadcast that information to the general public to make them aware of what we're doing is also important. At the end of April, Thursday, April 29th, starts session 1 of secretaries with PDG Ruth Roberts. It's a 2-part series, 2 weeks apart. In the middle of May, May 20th, is my Lion training with PDG Len Day and PDG Randy Hargraves. And then on May 27th, I'm doing one on my LCI. And then we're into June and we have a 1-day presentation for club presidents. This is for club presidents, not just the president, first and second vices, and also directors. It's a meaningful topic. It's 1 day, but it's 2 parts. So it's 9 till 11 in the morning with a break, and then 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And we'll have several people. I think Lion Len and Lion Ruth and probably Randy and myself will be part of that one. And then June 10th, we're doing one on the Lions Learning Center. Often we hear about Lions University. We're familiar with some of the institutes, and some of us are familiar with Lions Learning Weekend/webinars, but the Lions Learning Center is something that all Lions can do from their own home, and it's some really effective training. So it's something we all should be aware of. Sadly, today, this is perhaps one of the most important topics on our whole slate of topics for this spring series of the Lions Learning webinars. I would have hoped more people would have been on this. particularly clubs that are struggling to find ways to do service safely. Thank you again, PDG Randy. You did a great job and a great presentation. I believe we are recording this and then we will put it on our YouTube channel so that hopefully some clubs will look into this and get some ideas that will inspire their clubs to do more meaningful service. Thank you again, Randy.
So Jamie, can I just ask a quick question? What address do you put in for the YouTube channel so I can share that?
Well, if you just go to YouTube and you just with District A12 Lions, I forget exactly. I can let me see what this is. Jamie, YouTube. Let me look for my District A-12 Lions Clubs. If you typed in that, there's a whole bunch of webinars that are some things that are already on there.
Okay, sweet. That's
Okay.
great. Thank you. Just wasn't sure.
Yeah, so when you get into it, just subscribe to it so that it'll pop up every time you open up YouTube.
Okay, thanks.
And how do you sign up for the other webinars? I have signed up for the e-commerce one, but I haven't seen an invitation for the others.
Okay. Did you not get an e-blast last weekend?
No,
You never got an e-blast from your club secretary?
nope.
Well, do me a favor. Contact your club. I'll dig it up right now and I'll put it in the chat box. But can you contact your club secretary and ask?
I am the secretary.
Oh, didn't you get an email from me?
No.
Yeah, you would have. Didn't you get an e-blast?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'll make sure you're on there then.
Okay,
It was
then
also
thanks,
on,
Jamie.
it's on our
Also on the
Facebook page too.
And it's on the website.
Okay.
But let me see if I can recover that document right now.
If you just click on the different topics, Jillian, then it'll you register and you'll get an email and then that's where you join. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what I did with this one and the e-commerce one, but I didn't get a link or anything to join the others.
Okay.
I don't know if I could put this in the chat here or not.
If not, definitely go to the A12 website. It's on there. Jen made sure it was.
I'll go to the A12 website then, Ruth.
Okay. Yeah, I've got to get I don't have the file like it right here. I got the file in front of me here. I can email it to you after, but it is posted on the A12 website and Facebook page.
Jillian, just to be on the safe side, why don't you use the chat and send your current email address to Jamie to make sure we have the right one?
I should have it. Just a second.
You should have it,
Yeah,
but
I should have it. Let me just, I don't know why you didn't get that e-blast. Oh, here. I'm going to share this in the chat. How about this? See if you can click on that link there, Jillian.
okay.
Okay, great job tonight, Randy. I'm gonna go have some dinner.
Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay.